Let's take a short period of time and just learn a little bit about the voice, okay? How is the voice made? Well, almost every muscle of the body goes into voice production. We can think of it as three main compartments, okay? You have the oscillator, which is the vibrator. Those are the vocal folds. They're the guitar strings or the violin strings of the instrument. Well, a guitar string or violin string won't do anything unless you bow or strum across it, correct? So you need your breath support, the power source. The vocal folds close, breath builds up beneath them, blows them open, and starts them vibrating. Well, if you took a violin string and just stretched it, bowed across it, in open space, you wouldn't hear much. And that's because you just hear a limited range of frequencies. So you need the body of the instrument to give the color to the voice, or to the music, to bring out the harmonics. And that's everything above the vocal folds. Your throat, your nasal cavity, your sinuses, and so forth. So when we think about keeping a healthy voice, we have to think about all those aspects of the body. You have big nasal polyps or growth, something is going to affect your vocal quality, it's going to affect your resonation. Something impairing vibration of vocal folds is going to affect your vibration. If you have poor breath support, smoke, lung disease, so forth, you're going to have a hard time projecting and a hard time making the vocal folds vibrate in a regular, pure manner. So as I said, the vocal folds close, and you can sort of follow this. I forgot a pointer, I knew there was one thing I forgot. The vocal folds close, air builds up beneath them and blows them open from the lower lip, and that starts the vibratory cycle, if you can reach back to 10th grade physics and think about it. And when that's regular, you hear a pure, pure sound. Well, how can the vocal folds vibrate? They close, we know they close, they open and close, can vibrate. Aren't they just a chord? No, they're a fold, we call them a fold because they're a multi-layered structure. And the deepest layer is muscle, and then there's something called the vocal ligament, which is dense connective tissue. And then there's the outer layer, which is nice and pliable. So there's a gradient of stiffness. In the outer layers, we want nice, pliable, and healthy. And if that pliability gets impaired, you get raspiness to the voice. And then we talked about the resonators. So the sound comes up above, and the vocal tract brings out all those beautiful harmonics or formants to give the color to the voice. And the secret here that could put all of us out of business is that if you want to keep a healthy voice and have a great quality voice, you want to maximize the use of your power source and your resonators to reduce work of the oscillator while producing a good sound. So how do we know if we have a voice problem? Well, you can listen. You can listen to your voice. You can listen to others' voices for that matter too. You can also feel. I don't have it up here, but you can feel if something hurts, strain. You know, if it hurts you to produce voice, something's probably wrong. But I like to simplify things. Hoarseness is just a general term to describe a change in vocal quality. It's not specific. Someone says they're hoarse, it may not be the same thing as someone else coming in to say they're hoarse. So I like to break it into four qualities: raspiness, breathiness, peculiar sounds, and change in resonance. We talked about change in resonance a little bit. With nasal polyps, the sound can't resonate in there. And why do we pay attention to, actually, let me go back for 1 second. I'll just say raspiness. If you hear raspiness of the voice, which is what most people think of hoarseness, that means the vocal folds are not vibrating well. Something's impeding their vibration. If you hear breathiness of the voice, it means the vocal folds aren't closing very well. And peculiar sounds can be the sign of a neurologic or a functional or psychologic problem. And we talked about change in resonance. So why pay attention to voice changes? Well, we've mentioned it already a few times tonight, but early recognition and treatment will provide a better chance of recovering the voice. And that's for benign problems and for more, cancerous problems, malignant problems. Just if someone has a polyp, vocal fold polyp from yelling and screaming and getting blood in their vocal cord, it develops into a polyp, and they ignore that hoarseness for a long period of time, that polyp's going to bang into the other side. It could cause scarring, it could cause another mass, it could make it a more difficult case to deal with. And then as we mentioned and seen, voice changes can be the sign of a serious medical problem. So how do we look at the vocal folds? If you don't want to look, just close your eyes for a second. There are a number of different ways to look at the vocal folds. We can look with a mirror and a headlight, and that gives us a nice view of color and so forth, looks for big masses and things. We can look with a little scope through the nose. You can see this is what the spaghetti noodle does when their teenager brings it out, their nose for their mouth. And you can see that gives us a look at the larynx. This is the voice box here. These are your vocal folds down here. and there is the trachea. The epiglottis is here. And we can get a view of them opening and closing. Again, we can see big masses and lesions and so forth. And then we can look with a 70-degree telescope, and that gives us a nice magnified view of the vocal folds. I know some of you are shuddering because you had this done, but I have nothing on me tonight. So, and then we hook this up to a strobe light on a computer. There's a microphone on your surface microphone on your neck, and that picks up the frequency of vibration, tells the strobe light how fast to vibrate, so it vibrates just off of the vibratory cycle of the vocal fold, fools the eye, fools the retina to think that we're seeing continuous motion, so we look at vibration, and that adds another degree of sensitivity to the examination. So let's listen to this voice here.
When the sunlight strikes the raindrops,
it's a nice clear voice, right? Not raspy, not breathy, nice and clear. Sorry, I have to do that. And then we'll look at the strobe here. You see nice, healthy vocal folds, vibrating nice. At all frequencies, all throughout the range. Well, let's listen to this voice.
When the sunlight strikes the raindrops in the air.
And most of us would say that voice is rough and raspy. You hear that voice and you know that there is an impairment in vibration.
Beautiful colors.
And as you can see, she's got a cyst within the vocal fold layers that's impeding vibration, and a polyp there actually on the other side, because this cyst banked into the other side and developed a mass there. And you can see it's not vibrating well, particularly where that cyst is. Listen to this voice.
When the sunlight strikes the raindrops.
This gentleman is not whispering. He's trying to use his voice, and it's very breathy, because his vocal folds aren't closing. And why aren't they closing? Because this vocal fold on the right side of the screen, which is the left, is not moving. It's paralyzed. And it's paralyzed because he had a cancer in his left upper lobe of his lung, pushing on the nerve. So a case where voice change actually was a presenting symptom of a lung cancer. Listen to this voice. I would put in the category of peculiar sounds. And she also has some slurring of speech, that's dysarthria, and that's always concerning for a central process. We knew this woman came to us after having a severe stroke, brainstem stroke, and actually she had an amazing recovery except for voice and speech. And you can see, when we look, her vocal folds bouncing back and forth. That's something called myoclonus. So this can be a window into a lot of problems. So when should we seek attention? If you have horses over 2 weeks, certainly you should seek attention. It's not normal to be a horse for that long. Doesn't mean there's a disaster going on, but it's not normal, and you should get attention, have your vocal folds visualized, and treated appropriately. And then also rapid onset of hoarseness after vocal abuse, a night out in a loud environment, screaming at the lions, so forth. If you can rest your voice for a few days and it comes back to normal, great, fine, that's not a big deal. But normal, not acceptable. A lot of people say, oh, my voice is better, but it never quite reaches where it was before. And so that means there's some lingering problem there. Obviously, if you're a voice professional, teacher, singer, you depend on your voice, you can't go on voice rest, or you need your voice to be in tip-top shape, you want to seek early recognition, early evaluation. And that's because there are a couple injuries where you really have to be on voice rest and may need some other medical treatment, including voice therapy, early on. And one is called a vocal fold tear, and this is like biting the inside of your lip. It's from acute traumatic event. And if you keep talking on it, it will develop into a mass, or worse, scar. Scar is something we don't have good treatment for. This teacher went to a wedding, talked a lot, went back to school, was very hoarse, came to us right away, and we put her on rest, some steroids and some excellent voice therapy by Dr. Menaldi, and you can see over time, everything's gone and she has beautiful looking vocal folds. So we probably saved her, or she saved herself, from having a problem that might have lingered, might have needed surgery, so forth. This is a vocal fold hemorrhage, which is a bleed into the vocal fold. That can be a very, very serious, devastating injury as well, leading to deep scar formation. So the Academy did put out these recommendations in the setting of, and the theme of Love Your Voice, and I thought they were kind of cute. I'll just go through them real quickly. Embrace hydration. Hydration is good. You want your vocal folds to be nice and lubricated. Kiss, but don't yell. Obviously, yelling is traumatic on the vocal folds. unless it's done appropriately with good technique. Hug a microphone. It could be your friend, particularly when you're speaking to a big crowd. Warm up with a few sweet nothings. Well, I'm going to leave that to Dr. Menaldi because we're about to do that all together. Always clear the air, but not your throat. Okay? Take some water, tuck your chin, swallow. That's obviously a very difficult problem. Can be quite frustrating to many people. Look hot, but don't smoke. This just in, smoking's bad for you. So, it's bad for a number of reasons, but it is certainly bad on the voice in a number of ways. Know what you're feeling. Have a sense. If you're out late, you're talking over loud noise, and it starts to hurt, recognize that. Okay, something is you're causing some trauma. Think good breath support, not just heavy breathing. Be a good listener and check it out. If you're having problems, come get checked out. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to. Thank you.